Now you can pull that one up. All right. Say something. All right. Say something. All right. No. I didn't hear you on there. That's fine. Mm, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. I will drop out of this.
Everything's changed now. What's this? 5? I only needed 1 for the reading. 5 would give me more seeds than I could ever count. Never mind. Perhaps reading and fate don't matter after all. Fate may be written, but that means we just have to rewrite ours. All right then. You've opened the path for us to defy fate. Here you go. Even if the whole world comes to ruin, I'll be by your side. I'd like you to have it. Whatever the reason.
But I hope you don't mind me saying, your outfit would look so much better with some slight changes. I hope you don't... Let's enjoy this beauty together. At the end of my tether.
Steering won't change what's to come.
Can you hear me? Hey. Maybe it's fine. Are you sure you have the right email? Sorry, baby. Okay. You said more price increases? Oh, okay. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. Thanks to the giant fucking tangerine turnip in charge. I am ready for you to start reading me Akator. So keep working on your thing then. On the PlayStation thingy. Once you get in, and we'll switch over to that. Say something? Oh, I was looking to see if it... Let me check my settings real quick, make sure I turned it on. And include party audio. I think so. But maybe not. Because I don't hear you now. Maybe. You might have to set your volume to be shareable. I think you're going to have to just do like a regular chat for something else and then talk to him about that. I'm going to try and grow some more northern pike in my fish pond. Okay.
Stop! Arthur! Luck's on my side today. Oh, he betrayed me. Last. Finally gonna be rich. Your character's fair out of jewels. Come here, sunshine. Trade goods. Come over here. Today's the day I struck.
Run! Go! Hiya! Hiya! Oh, fresh, clean water is flowing once again. The area seems purified of bandits as well. Now the people of this village can live in peace. Everyone here will remember you for a long, long time.
You're fine. Okay. Give me a second, I'll get it. That's fine, I think you unplugged it anyways. Let me turn my light on. Okay. Ask them what it starts with. Because I see several numbers. But I don't see the word serial number. Yeah. Oh, so you don't need this? Okay. I'm gonna blow it off there and plug it back in then. Ugh. Huh? Ugh. I am struggling on this puzzle. This is where the laser comes in from. And I have to get it to here. I cannot rotate these. They are stationary. But I can, well, I can move them. I cannot rotate them. This is the first one that it hits no matter what. And it can only hit it on this line. What, this? Yeah, I can move it closer to the origin. And then it hits this one back here, which once it's in place here, it hits this one, which is also stationary. I cannot rotate this one at all. I was trying to see if I could rotate it. This one? This one? Oh. This one? Yeah. There is no other mirror lit up. This one, the one I was moving. I am aware of that. Stop snapping at me. I was moving this one and you said not this one. So not this one. Is it this one? So that hits this one, and this one is not movable. This one. This is the only other one I've moved. This one. What do you want me to do with it? I am. I understand there's a delay. Stop. I get it. I get it. It's fine. Just don't snap at me anymore. I understand there's a delay. I will do what you tell me. You have to wait for the picture to catch up, not me. Okay. Do you want me to move it further? Because this is how I had it earlier and I couldn't figure out what to do. This one here that it hits now shoots it off the edge of the map being the puzzle. So the only thing I can do with I had this up here earlier. I already tried doing it this way that you're doing it. I couldn't figure it out. Because the one that it hits now is another round one and it's stationary. I cannot move this one. So now it hits this one. Right now, off the map. I can move this one to intercept it. That puts it hitting this. And that puts this here. This stone right here. I have to light up this red stone, which will send power through these cables to the tower to open it. I've got that one. You're fine. The strongest fuck sword. Alright, moving that one takes it off of that one. This can't start here. Okay. You want to switch over to the app then? Okay. I will switch real fast. Can you hear me?
What can I help you find today, darling?
So,
Alright.
What is that? Nothing? Huh.
If you see anything you want to put your hands on, you just let me know, okay?
Don't forget to mute yourself, okay?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, did you figure out the puzzle, or
Yes. I was dumb.
why?
So it couldn't start in the very first position that we had it in.
Time out. I think my party settings are messed up. Oh no, I can hear myself. Continue. So why were you dumb?
Give me a second. Because fucking I I didn't try and what did I do wrong? I didn't try to fucking move the oh, I see. I've got it too high.
If ever there was a moment where I understood the punishment of Prometheus of having to listen to the worst storyteller ever,
Thanks.
I understand now.
There is a one of the very starting one that you had us on that you told me to put back when I had it in a different position. I couldn't start there because it was blocking the red stone. So I had to move it over. And then the other ones, I had two of them. I had to swap their positions.
It's too hard for me to fucking help with those
No, you're
when I can't
fine.
see and there's such a fucking delay that I'm yelling. I'm like, do the thing, and you're like, what fucking thing?
Alright. So that breaks it.
I need you to know how horrible. You remember on like those old oh fuck, what were they? The old like they're similar to like Survivor shows, but they were on Nickelodeon. You had to fucking go through like
Yes, like the Aztec puzzle
obstacle
thing,
courses.
like the
Yeah,
get
you remember
slime
those
shit.
shows?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's the adult versions. It was the same shit, but adults. It was
yeah.
similar to fucking Survivor. Remember the ones where you had to work together with your partner and your partner would tell you the instructions and you would have to do it because you
Why do
wouldn't
you
have the
think it took
information
us
that your
so
partner
long to
did?
beat that game? We were here.
I, I, we
You were
couldn't do it.
terrible at it.
You don't listen.
You have no patience.
Do things faster.
Explain things better.
It's not my fault you have the comprehension of a goldfish.
It's not my fault you can't explain it to me like I'm 5.
I didn't marry a 5-year-old. You want me to keep reading?
Sure. I do have viewers.
Do you not want me to keep
I don't
reading?
care. That's up to you. I have 1 viewer, but it keeps going back up to 2.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you remember? Do I need to reread anything?
Hold on. They were at the... It was past the party, right?
Yes.
Past the music and the drinking. And now she was in a new dress.
They were
And
having breakfast.
They were having breakfast, and he was complimenting her. But she didn't catch Lucian's compliment because she was busy looking to see if Tamlin was hurt.
Yes. So if that's all you remember, I'm gonna go back and read a little bit because they were flirting really hard, and then there was something important.
Okay.
Lucian shifted in his seat. Not to be the bearer of truly bad tidings, but my contact at the Winter Court managed to get a letter to me. Lucian took a steadying breath, and I wondered if being emissary also meant being spy master, and wondered why he was bothering to say this in my presence at all. The smile instantly faded from Tamlin's face. The blight, Lucian said tightly, softly. It took out 24 of their younglings. Hello? Okay, hold on, I gotta do math. I love her. She always,
Oh, God
she's
damn it.
our IHOP lady. She's
Yeah.
so sweet. She always comes in and tips me. But she's like, I don't have any more ones. Please take all my change. I'm like, okay. 17, 23.
No, because that one floats. show it doesn't float.
There's 27 feet. That's all I need. Nice. 20 hours. Okay. It took out 24 of their younglings. 24, all gone. He swallowed. It just burned through their magic, then broke apart their minds. No one in the Winter Court could do anything. No one could stop it once it turns its attention towards them. Their grief is unfathomable. My contact says other courts are being hit hard, though the Night Court, of course, manages to remain unscathed. But the Blight seems to be sending its wickedness this way, farther south with every attack. All the warmth, all the sparkling joy drained from me like blood down a drain. The Blight can truly kill people, I managed to say. Younglings. It had killed children like some storm of darkness and death. And if offspring were as rare as Alice had claimed, the loss of so many would be more devastating than I could imagine. Tamlin's eyes were shadowed, and he slowly shook his head, as if trying to clear the grief and shock of those deaths from him. The Blight is capable of hurting us in ways you... He shot to his feet so quickly that his chair flipped over. He unsheathed his claws and snarled at the open doorway, canines long and gleaming. The house, usually full of the whispering skirts and chatter of servants, had gone silent. Not the pregnant silence of fire night, but rather a trembling quiet that made me want to scramble under the table, or just start running. Lucian swore and drew his sword. "Get Feyre to the window, by the curtains," Tamlin growled to Lucian, not taking his eyes off the open doors. Lucian's hand gripped my elbow, dragging me out of my chair. "What's—" I started, but Tamlin growled again, the sound echoing through the room. I snatched one of the knives off the table and let Lucian lead me to the window, where he pushed me against the velvet drapes. I wanted to ask why he didn't bother hiding me behind them, but the fox-masked fairy just pressed his back into me, pinning me between him and the wall. The tang of magic shoved itself up my nostrils. Though his sword was pointed at the floor, Lucian's grip tightened on it, his knuckles turned white. Magic, a glamour, to conceal me, to make me a part of Lucian, invisible, hidden by the fairy's magic and scent. I peered over his shoulder at Tamlin, who took a long breath and sheathed his claws and fangs, his baldric of knives appearing from thin air across his chest. But he didn't draw any of the knives as he righted his chair and slouched in it, picking at his nails, as if nothing were happening. But someone was coming, someone awful enough to frighten them, someone who would want to hurt me if they knew I was here. The hissing voice of the adder slithered through my memory. There were worse creatures than it, Tamlin had told me. Worse than the Naga, the Suriel, and the Bogey, too. Footsteps sounded from the hall, even, strolling, casual. Tamlin continued cleaning his nails, and in front of me, Lucian assumed a position of appearing to be looking out the window. The footsteps grew louder, the scuff of boots on marble tiles. And then he appeared. No mask. He, like the adder, belonged to someone else. Something else. Someone else. And worse, I'd met him before. He'd saved me from those 3 fairies on Fire Night. With steps that were too graceful, too feline, he approached the dining table and stopped a few yards from the High Lord. He was exactly as I remembered him, with his fine, rich clothing cloaked in tendrils of night, an ebony tunic brocaded with gold and silver, dark pants and black boots that went to his knees. I'd never dared to paint him, and now knew I would never have the nerve to. "High Lord," the stranger crooned, inclining his head slightly, not a bow. Tamlin remained seated. With his back to me, I couldn't see his face, but Tamlin's voice was laced with the promise of violence as he said, "What do you want, Rhysand?" Rhysand smiled, heartbreaking in its beauty, and put a hand on his chest. "Rhysand? Come now, Tamlin, I don't see you for 49 years, and you start calling me Rhysand? Only my prisoners and my enemies call me that." His grin widened as he finished, and something in his countenance turned feral and deadly, more so than I'd ever seen Tamlin look. Rhysand turned, and I held my breath as he ran an eye over Lucian. A fox mask, Appropriate for you, Lucian. Go to hell, Reese, Lucian snapped. Always a pleasure dealing with the rabble, Rhysand said, and faced Tamlin again. I still didn't breathe. I hope I wasn't interrupting. We were in the middle of lunch, Tamlin said, his voice void of the warmth to which I'd become accustomed. The voice of the High Lord. It turned my insides cold. Stimulating, Rhysand purred. What are you doing here, Rhys? Tamlin demanded, still in his seat. I wanted to check up on you. I wanted to see how you were faring, if you got my little present. Your present was unnecessary. But a nice reminder of the fun days, wasn't it? Rhysand clicked his tongue and surveyed the room. Almost half a century holed up in a country estate. I don't know how you managed it, but, he said, facing Tamlin again, you're such a stubborn bastard that this must have seemed like a paradise compared to under the mountain. I suppose it is. I'm surprised, though. 49 years and no attempts to save yourself or your lands. Even now that things are getting interesting again. There's nothing to be done, conceded Tamlin, his voice low. Rhysand approached Tamlin, each movement smooth as silk. His voice dropped into a whisper, an erotic caress of sound that brought heat to my cheeks. What a pity that you must endure the brunt of it, Tamlin, and an even greater pity that you're so resigned to your fate. You might be stubborn, but this is pathetic. How different the High Lord is from the brutal warband leader of centuries ago. Lucy had interrupted. What do you know about anything? You're just Amarantha's whore. Her whore I might be, but not without my reasons. I flinched as his voice whetted itself into an edge. At least I haven't bided my time among the hedges and flowers while the world has gone to hell. Lucian's sword rose slightly. If you think that's all I've been doing, you'll soon learn otherwise. Little Lucian, you certainly gave them something to talk about when you switched to spring. Such a sad thing to see your lovely mother in perpetual mourning over losing you. Lucian pointed his sword at Rhysand. Watch your filthy mouth. Rhysand laughed, a lover's laugh, low and soft and intimate. Is that any way to speak to a High Lord of Prythian? My heart stopped dead. That was why those fairies had run off on Fire Night. To cross him would have been suicide. And from the way darkness seemed to ripple from him, from those violet eyes that burned like stars. Come now, Tamlin, Rhysand said. Shouldn't you reprimand your lackey for speaking to me like that? I don't enforce rank in my court, Tamlin said. Still, Rhysand crossed his arms, but it's so entertaining when they grovel. I suppose your father never bothered to show you. This isn't the night court, Lucian hissed, and you have no power here, so clear out. Amarantha's bed is growing cold. I tried not to breathe too loudly. Rhysand, he'd been the one to send that head, as a gift. I flinched. Was the night court where this woman, this Amarantha, was located too? Rhysand snickered, but then he was upon Lucian, too fast for me to follow with my human eyes, growling in his face. Lucian pressed me into the wall with his back, hard enough that I stifled a cry as I was squished against the wood. I was slaughtering on the battlefield before you were even born, Rhysand snarled. Then, as quickly as he came, he withdrew, casual and careless. No, I would never dare to paint that dark immortal grace, not in 100 years. Besides, he said, stuffing his hands into his pockets, who do you think taught your beloved Tamlin the finer aspects of swords and females? You can't truly believe he learned everything in his father's little war camps. Tamlin rubbed his temples. Save it for another time, Rhys. You'll see me soon enough. Rhysand meandered toward the door. She's already preparing for you. Given your current state, I think I can safely report that you've already been broken and will reconsider her offer. Lucian's breath hitched as Rhysand passed the table. The High Lord of the Night Court ran a finger along the back of my chair, a casual gesture. I'm looking forward to seeing your face when you... Rhysand studied the table. Lucian went stick straight, pressing me harder against the wall. The table was still set for 3, my half-eaten plate of food sitting right before him. Where's your guest? Rhysand asked, lifting my goblet and sniffing it before setting it down again. I sent them off when I sensed your arrival, Tamlin lied coolly. Rhysand now faced the High Lord, and his perfect face was void of emotion before his brows rose. A flicker of excitement, perhaps even disbelief, flashed across his features, but he whipped his head to Lucian. Magic seared my nostrils, and I stared at Rhysand in undiluted terror as his face contorted with rage. You dare glamour me? He growled, his violet eyes burning as they bore into my own. Lucian just pressed me harder into the wall. Tamlin's chair groaned as it was shoved back. He rose, claws at the ready, deadlier than any of the knives strapped to him. Rasan's face became a mask of calm fury as he stared and stared at me. I remember you, he purred. It seems like you ignored my warning to stay out of trouble. He turned to Tamlin. Who, pray tell, is your guest? My betrothed, Lucian answered. Oh, here I was, thinking you still mourned your commoner lover after all these centuries, Rasan said, stalking toward me. The sunlight didn't gleam on the metallic
Step
threads of his
forward if
tunic,
you are
as
prepared
if
to
it
face
balked
the
from the
truth.
darkness pulsating from him.
To restore
Lucian
the
spat at
natural
Rasan's
order,
feet and shoved his
great
sword between
strength
us.
is required.
Rasan's venom-coated smile grew. You draw blood from me, Lucian, and you'll learn how quickly Amarantha's horror can make the entire Autumn Court bleed, especially its darling lady. The color leached from Lucian's face, but he held his ground. It was Tamlin who answered.
Hang on just
Put
a
your
second.
sword down, Lucian.
I'm in a cutscene. So Rhysand is the bad guy you've been telling me about.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, what, night elves?
They're all high fae. He is just Lord of the Night Court.
Okay.
There is not a different breed as far as like day and night
Oh,
elves.
so they
They're
don't have
different
like
courts.
sun elves and moon elves. They're all
No,
just
there are
elves,
different elves, or not
and they
elves,
like worship
fairies.
different seasons.
Essentially, they don't really worship them essentially, but like they get their like essences. Like you'll see the Dawn Court, his essence, his magic is powered like by light. The High Lord of the Night Court is very attuned with the darkness. Tamlin is a beast because springtime. The Summer Court is water because the ocean, that kind of thing. Like there are affinities with the courts and characteristics, but they are not a different breed altogether.
Okay.
It's just like I am human, same as somebody from fucking Asia is human, but we descend from different areas.
Okay, you can continue. Sorry, I thought a cutscene was starting, and one did, but then it ended real fast without anything happening. So
Give me just a second.
bear within you the purpose to mend the balance that falters. True enlightenment shall begin when the sanctum's order is restored. Still too far away.
Plug my Bluetooth real fast. Okay.
Cutscene.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Well,
Unravel the secrets carved into ancient stone, and let their power flow through.
there are things that grow stronger the more they are worn and weathered. Enlightenment shall begin when the swords, where the swords of past and present cross. Lend your ear to the cries of suffering. Enlightenment shall begin beyond the sea of crimson sands in the north where severed bonds will born. Learn the way of looking within. Enlightenment shall begin upon the southern peak where the morning mist rises.
Bastard!
Is that all of them? Okay, you're good.
Put your sword down, Lucian. Rhysand ran an eye over me. I knew you liked to stoop low with your lovers, Lucian, but I never really thought you'd actually dabble with mortal trash. My face burned. Lucian was trembling, with rage or fear or sorrow, I couldn't tell. The lady of the Autumn Court will be grieved when she hears of her youngest son. Yet if I were you, I'd keep your new pet well away from your father. Leave, Rhys, Tamlin commanded, standing a few feet behind the High Lord of the Night Court. And yet he didn't make a move to attack, despite the claws, despite Rhysand still approaching me. Perhaps a battle between two High Lords could tear this manor to its foundations, and leave only dust in its wake. Or perhaps, if Rhysand was indeed this woman's lover, the retaliation from hurting him would be too great, especially with the added burden of facing the blight. Rhysand brushed Lucian aside as if he were a curtain. There was nothing between us now, and the air was sharp and cold. But Tamlin remained where he was, and Lucian didn't so much as blink as Rhysand, with horrific gentleness, pried the knife from my hands and sent it scattering across the room. That won't do you any good anyway, Rhysand said to me. If you were wise, you would be screaming and running from this place, from these people. It's a wonder that you're still here, actually. My confusion must have been written across my face, for Rhysand laughed loudly. Oh, she doesn't know, does she? I trembled, unable to find words or courage. You have seconds, Rhys, Tamlin warned. Seconds to get out. If I were you, I wouldn't speak to me like that. Against my volition, my body straightened, every muscle going taut, my bones straining. Magic, but deeper than that. Power that seized everything inside me and took control. Even my blood flowed where he willed it. I couldn't move. An invisible talon-tipped hand scraped across my mind, and I knew one push, one swipe of those mental claws, and who I was would cease to exist. "Let her go," Tamlin said, bristling, but didn't advance forward. A kind of panic had entered his eyes, and he glanced from me to Rysand. "Enough!" "I'd forgotten that human minds are as easy to shatter as eggshells," Rysand said, and ran a finger across the base of my throat. I shuddered, my eyes burning. "Look at how delightful she is. Look at how she's trying not to cry out in terror. It would be quick, I promise." Had I retained any semblance of control over my body, I might have vomited. "She has the most delicious thoughts about you, Tamlin," he said. She's wondered about the feeling of your fingers on her thighs. Between them two," he chuckled. Even as he said my most private thoughts, even as I burned with outrage and shame, I trembled at the grip still on my mind. Rhysand turned to the High Lord. "I'm curious. Why did she wonder if it would feel good to have you bite her breast the way you bit her neck?" "Let her go." Tamlin's face was twisted with such feral rage that it struck a different, deeper chord of terror in me. "If it's any consolation," Rhysand confided to him, "she would have been the one for you, and you might have gotten away with it. A bit late, though. She's more stubborn than you are." Those invisible claws lazily caressed my mind again, and then vanished. I sank to the floor, curling over my knees as I reeled in everything that I was, as I tried to keep from sobbing, from screaming, from emptying my stomach onto the floor. "Amarantha will enjoy breaking her," Rhysand observed to Tamlin, "almost as much as she'll enjoy watching you as she shatters her bit by bit." Tamlin was frozen, his arms, his claws hanging limply at his side. I'd never seen him look like that. "Please," was all that Tamlin said. "Please what?" Rhysand said, gently, coaxingly, like a lover. "Don't tell Amarantha about her," Tamlin said, his voice strained. "And why not? As her whore," he said, with a glance tossed in Lucien's direction, "I should tell her everything." "Please," Tamlin managed, as if it were difficult to breathe. Rhysand pointed to the... "Hello?" Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He kicked me out of the party. Okay. "Don't tell Amarantha about her," Tamlin said, his voice strained. "And why not? As her whore," he said, with a glance tossed in Lucien's direction, "I should tell her everything." "Please," Tamlin managed, as if it were difficult to breathe. Rhysand pointed to the ground, and his smile became vicious. "Beg, and I'll consider not telling Amarantha." Tamlin dropped to his knees and bowed his head. "Lower." Tamlin pressed his forehead to the floor, his hand sliding along the floor toward Rhysand's boots. I could have wept with rage at the sight of Tamlin being forced to bow to someone, at the sight of my High Lord being put so low. Rhysand pointed at Lucien. "You too, Foxboy." Lucien's face was dark, but he lowered himself to his knees, then touched his head to the ground. I wished for the knife Rhysand had chucked away, for anything with which to kill him. I stopped shaking long enough to hear Rhys speak again. "Are you doing this for your sake, or for hers?" he pondered, then shrugged as if he weren't forcing a High Lord of Prythian to grovel. "You're far too desperate, Tamlin. It's off-putting. Becoming a High Lord made you so boring." "Are you going to tell Amarantha?" Tamlin said, keeping his face on the floor. Rhysand smirked. "Perhaps I'll tell her, perhaps I won't." In a flash of motion too fast for me to detect, Tamlin was on his feet, fangs dangerously close to Rhysand's face. "None of that," Rhysand said, clicking his tongue and lightly shoving Tamlin away with a single hand. "Not with a lady present." His eyes shifted to my face. "What's your name, love?" Giving him my name and my family name would lead only to more pain and suffering. He might very well find my family and drag them into Prythian to torment, just to amuse himself. But he could steal my name from my mind if I hesitated for too long. Keeping my mind blank and calm, I blurted the first name that came to mind, a village friend of my sister's whom I'd never spoken to and whose face I couldn't recall. Claire Bedore. My voice was nothing more than a gasp. Rhysand turned back to Tamlin, unfazed by the High Lord's proximity. Well, this was entertaining. The most fun I've had in ages, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing you three under the mountain. I'll give Amarantha your regards. Then Rhysand vanished into nothing, as if he'd stepped through a rip in the world, leaving us alone in horrible, trembling silence. I lay in bed, watching the pools of moonlight shift on the floor. It was an effort not to dwell on Tamlin's face as he ordered me and Lucian to leave and shut the door to the dining room. Had I not been so bent on piecing myself together, I might have stayed, might have even asked Lucian about it, about everything. But like the coward I was, I bolted to my room, where Alice was waiting with a cup of molten chocolate. It was even more of an effort not to recall the roaring that rattled the chandelier or the cracking of shattering furniture that echoed through the house. I didn't go to dinner. I didn't want to know if there was a dining room to eat in, and I couldn't bring myself to paint. The house had been quiet for some time now, but the ripples of Tamlin's rage echoed through it, reverberating in the wood and stone and glass. I didn't want to think about all that Rhysand had said, didn't want to think about the looming storm of the Blight, or Under the Mountain, whatever it was called, and why I might be forced to go there. And Amarantha, at last, a name to go with the female presence that stalked their lives. I shuddered each time I considered how deadly she must be to command the High Lords of Prythian, to hold Rhysand's leash, and to make Tamlin beg to keep me hidden from her. The door creaked, and I jerked upright. Moonlight glimmered on gold, but my heart didn't ease as Tamlin shut the door and approached my bed. His steps were slow and heavy, and he didn't speak until he'd taken a seat on the edge of the mattress. "I'm sorry," he said. His voice was hoarse and empty. "It's fine," I lied, clenching the sheets in my hands. If I thought too long about it, I could still feel the claw-tipped caresses of Rhysand's power scraping against my mind. "It's not fine," he growled, and grabbed one of my hands, wrenching my fingers from the sheets. "It's—" He hung his head, sighing deeply as his hand tightened on mine. "Feyre, I wish—" He shook his head and cleared his throat. "I'm sending you home, Feyre." Something inside me splintered. "What?" "I'm sending you home," he repeated, and though his words were stronger, louder, they trembled a bit. "What about the terms of the treaty? I've taken on your life debt. Should someone come inquiring about the broken laws, I'll take responsibility for Andrus's death." "But you once said that there was no other loophole. The Suriel said there was no—" A snarl. "If they have a problem with it, they can tell me, and wind up in ribbons." My chest caved in. Leaving. Free. Did I do something wrong? He lifted my hand to press it to his lower cheek. He was so invitingly warm. "You did nothing wrong." He turned his face to kiss my palm. "You were perfect." He murmured onto my skin, then lowered my hand. "Then why do I have to go?" I yanked my hand away. "Because there are people who would hurt you, Feyre. Hurt you because of what you are to me. I thought I would be able to handle them, to shield you from it, but after today, I can't. So you need to go home, far from here. You'll be safe there." "I could hold my own, and—" "You can't," he said, and his voice wobbled, "because I can't." He seized my face in both hands. "I can't even protect myself against them, against what's happening in Prythian." I felt every word as it passed from his mouth and onto my lips, a rush of hot, frantic air. "Even if we stood against the Blight, they would hunt you down. She would find a way to kill you." "Amarantha." He bristled at the name but nodded. "Who is—" "When you get home," he cut in, "don't tell anyone the truth about where you were. Let them believe the glamour. Don't tell them who I am. Don't tell them where you stayed. Her spies will be looking for you." "I don't understand." I grabbed his forearm and squeezed it tight. "Tell me. You have to go home, Feyre." "Home. It wasn't my home. It was hell." "I want to stay with you," I whispered, my voice breaking. "Treaty or no treaty, Blight or no Blight." He ran a hand over his face. His fingers contracted when they met with his mask. "I know." "So let me." "There's no debate," he snarled, and I glared at him. "Don't you understand?" He shot to his feet. Reese was the start of it. Do you want to be here when the Adder returns? Do you want to know what kind of creatures the Adder answers to? Things like the bogey, and worse. Let me help you. No. He paced before the bed. Didn't you read between the lines today? I hadn't, but I lifted my chin and crossed my arms. So you're sending me away because I'm useless in a fight. I'm sending you away because it makes me sick thinking about you in their hands. Silence fell, filled only by the sounds of his heavy breathing. He sank onto the bed and pressed the heels of his palms into his eyes. Hold on.
I press my fingers into my eyes. Sorry.
Uh-huh. His words echoed through me, melting my anger, turning everything inside me watery and frail. How long do I have to go away for? He didn't reply. A week? No answer. A month? He shook his head slowly. My upper lip curled, but I forced myself into neutrality. A year? That much time away from him. I don't know. But not forever, right? Even if the blight spread to the spring court again, even if it could shred me apart. Hello?
You there, baby? Oh.
And you have enough points today for $2 off. Did you want to use them or say sure? Why? Every penny helps in this day and age. $4 a gallon gas.
Brought the goods right into my lap.
$14.98. There. Hit that orange button on the touchscreen, and then the right green button, and you can tap it right in this general vicinity. There you go. Absolutely, dear. I have to use the restroom real fast.
Okay.
Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Even if the blight spread to the spring court again, even if it could shred me apart, I would come back. He brushed the hair from my face. I shook him off. I suppose it'll be easier if I'm gone, I said, looking away from him. Who wants someone who's so covered in thorns? Thorns? Thorny, prickly, sour, contrary. He leaned forward and kissed me lightly. Not forever, he said onto my mouth. And though I knew it was a lie, I put my arms around his neck and kissed him. I don't want to read this part out loud.
Is it a sexy scene?
It is, yes.
I don't have any viewers except you and me.
No, but I'm on camera at work.
Oh. Then you're not allowed to read to me.
I will read it to you later. It is a page and a half. I don't want to read this.
That's rude. That's fine.
You just assume we fade into black because there's nothing important in this sex scene. It's just sex. I fell asleep in his arms, and when I awoke a few hours later, we made love again, lazily and intently. A slow burning smoldered to the wildfire of earlier. Once we were both spent, panting and sweat-slicked, we lay in silence for a time, and I breathed in the smell of him, earthy and crisp. I would never be able to capture that. Huh?
Sorry, I got attacked by a bunch of birds and I just got knocked out.
Never to be able to paint the feel and taste of him, no matter how many times I tried, no matter how many colors I used.
I think I'm in a
Tamlin.
cutscene.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not.
You good?
Yeah, I think so.
Tamlin traced idle circles on the plane of my stomach and murmured, "We should sleep. You have a long journey tomorrow." Tomorrow, I sat upright, not at all minding my nakedness, not after he'd seen everything, tasted everything. What's this? Oh, I don't care. His mouth was a hard line. At dawn. But he sat up in a slow, smooth motion. "Please, Feyre. Please." Tamlin had bowed before Rhysand, for my sake. He shifted toward the edge of the bed. "Where are you going?" He looked over his shoulder at me. "If I stay, you won't get any sleep." "Stay," I said. I promised to keep my hands to myself. Lie. Such an outright lie. He gave me a half-smile that told me he knew it too, but nestled down, tugging me into his arms. I wrapped an arm around his waist and rested my head in the hollow of his shoulder. He idly stroked my hair, and I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to lose a minute with him. But an immense exhaustion was pulling me away from consciousness, until all I knew was the touch of his fingers in my hair and the sounds of his breathing. I was leaving, just when this place had become more than a sanctuary, when the command of the Suriel had become a blessing, and Tamlin far, far more than a savior or friend. I was leaving. It could be years until I saw this house again, years until I smelled his rose garden, until I saw those gold-flecked eyes. Home. This was home. As consciousness left me at last, I thought I heard him speak, his mouth close to my ear. "I love you," he whispered, and kissed my brow, thorns and all. He was gone when I awoke, and I was certain I had dreamed it.
Do you not?
Aye. Set things back to their proper state.
Hexa Marie.
Cutscene.
She plunders our bodies with vile sorcery, and shakes the Order of the Abyss we've guarded for generations.
The Order of the Abyss.
There is a temple, a keystone of this world, that holds the law of nature steady. If you truly wish to restore balance, help that temple regain its strength.
Okay, the cutscene's over.
I'm taking a break for a second.
That's fine.
Here you are.
We'll always have your back. It'd mean a lot if you took this.
There's no feeling like donning perfectly. Big gear.
Advanced Guide. One-handed weapon crafting. Once you have gained a working knowledge of basic materials, you should be...
Let me forge you a blade fit for legends. Good choice. Good choice. Every warrior counts on the weapon at their side. Every warrior counts on the weapon at their side. A mighty blade tests the heart of its master. Good choice. Searching for remember me when your blade grows dull. A mighty blade tests the heart of its master. Remember me when your blade grows dull.
I've got everything set what I'd done, and there's a fair bit I don't. Enjoying the day? You'll find it useful. You'll find it useful. Enjoying the day?
And I'm going to take these socks off for a little bit. They're starting to cut into me real bad. They were helping for a little while, but then they stopped. After the kid, can you hear me?
Yeah.
After the kid and I clean, I'm probably gonna bring my drink over here and clear off this table so I have room.
Yeah.
And then I'm probably gonna drink my stuff.
Are you ready to start reading?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna hit another cutscene for a little bit. I'll just tell you, I'll say cutscene or something.
Alright. There wasn't much to my packing and farewells. I was somewhat surprised when Alice clothed me in an outfit very unlike my usual garb, frilly and confining and binding in all the wrong places. Some mortal fashion among the wealthy, no doubt. The dress was made up of layers of pale pink silk, accented with white and blue lace. Alice placed a short, lightweight jacket of white linen on me, and atop my head she angled an absurd little ivory hat, clearly for decoration. I half expected a parasol to go with it. I said as much
You
to Alice, who
piece
clicked
of
her tongue.
shit dog.
What happened?
He knocked my e-cig off and it just broke into pieces.
You want me to wait?
No, you can continue. I just gotta get my stuff.
I said as much to Alice, who clicked her tongue. Shouldn't you be giving me a weepy farewell? I tugged at the lace gloves, useless and flimsy. I don't like goodbyes. If I could, I'd just walk out and not say anything. Alice gave me a long... Hello? What can I help you find today, dear?
Computer, stop the alarm.
I might make some coffee, actually. That would be yummy. Still there? Babe?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I had to pee and I muted myself.
You're
And now
good. I
I'm
might make
changing
some
out the
coffee.
water.
I think I am going to do that. Get some calories.
So I'm changing out the water now. So for dinner, I'm gonna make grilled fried chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
With some of these sides. I'll probably do these 2 bags of like the creamy garlic spiral pasta.
Yeah.
Uh, and then maybe some corn on the side. I can season it up a little bit with some pepper.
Okay. It's corn. Can I have juice?
I've got the
Can I
chicken
mention
dethawing.
more?
Echo, skip the rest of my alarms for today. And I'm gonna cut the chicken into like strips. I don't know how many breasts is in that bag. It looks like 2.
Ooh, I can make some uh, oatmeal and get something to eat. Fuck yeah.
So make some oatmeal. Did you just find some or something?
Yeah.
I'm getting some water and I'm gonna check on the kid because I heard her shouting a few minutes ago, but I didn't want to get up because my feet were hurting. I'm pretty sure she was just shouting with her friends, but I want to double check. You okay?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Okay, well I heard you shouting, so you were a
Hello?
few minutes ago. Okay, I love you.
Just one? Yep. The 3 milligram freebase.
We got a little over an hour till we got to clean.
Are you looking at me? You all right? May the wind sing the truth into your ear.
The cheesecake guy's leaving.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Did you stop
Ugh.
the stream?
Me?
Yeah, on your computer.
I don't think I did.
It says I've only got one viewer.
As far as I know, I didn't.
It's fine if you have to. It's not a big deal.
Hold on, I might have. I don't think so, but I might have. I'm not in there right now.
Perfect choice.
Coffee, 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 coffee.
I think it'll suit you well. Oh, your wardrobe tells you. Come back whenever you want to dress your best.
Gee. No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just tired.
Sorry, honey. Oh, I can't go in here. Hex Marie prevents me from entering the Hex Sanctuary. Okay, so that's what the weird crow things were. So that's what the big red circle is. I cannot go into the big red circle.
You're just getting started.
I got trapped underneath a dock.
It's better than being trapped underneath a dick.
I mean, I might be into Lady Dick. I don't know.
Listen, I have been trapped underneath a dick. It's not horrible.
You say it's not horrible?
It's not horrible. I got 7 out of 10.
Why
Not
is it not a
necessarily how
10?
I want. Not necessarily how I want to spend my Sunday afternoon, but there are worse things I could be doing. Because I don't like being trapped under anything.
Fair.
I don't like goodbyes. If I could, I'd just walk out and not say anything. Alice gave me a long look. I don't like them either. I went to the door, but despite myself, I said, I hope you get to be with your nephews again soon. Make the most of your freedom, was all she said to me. Downstairs, Lucian snorted at the sight of me. Those clothes are enough to convince me I never ever want to enter the human realm. I'm not sure the human realm would know what to do with you, I said. Lucian's smile was edged, his shoulders tight as he gave a sharp look behind me to where Tam was waiting in front of the gilded carriage. When he turned back, that metal eye narrowed. I thought you were smarter than this. Goodbye to you too, I said. Friend indeed. It wasn't my choice or my fault that they'd kept the bulk of their conflict from me. Even if I could do nothing against the Blight, or against the creatures, or against Amarantha, whoever she was. Lucian shook his head, his scar stark in the bright sun, and stalked toward Tamlin, despite the High Lord's warning growl. You're not even going to give her a few more days, just a few, before you send her back to that human cesspit? Lucian demanded. This isn't up for debate, Tamlin snapped, pointing at the house. I'll see you at lunch. Lucian stared him down for a moment, spat on the ground, and stormed up the stairs. Tamlin didn't reprimand him. I might have thought more on Lucian's words, might have shouted a retort after him, but my chest hollowed out as I faced Tamlin in front of the gilded carriage, my hands sweaty within the gloves. Remember what I told you, he said. I nodded, too busy memorizing the lines of his face to reply. Had he meant what I thought he'd said last night, that he loved me? I shifted, already aching in the little white pumps into which Alice had stuffed my poor feet. The mortal realm remains safe, for you, for your family. I nodded, wondering whether he might have tried to persuade me to leave our territory, to sail south, but understood that I would refuse to be so far from the wall, from him. That going back to my family was as far as I would allow to be sent from his side. My paintings, they're yours, I said, unable to come up with anything better to express how I felt, what it did to me to be sent away, and how terrified I was of the carriage looming behind me. He lifted my chin with a finger. I will see you again. He kissed me and pulled away too quickly. I swallowed hard, fighting the burning in my eyes. I love you, Feyre. I turned before my vision blurred, but he was immediately there to help me into the opulent carriage. He watched me take my seat through the open door, his face a mask of calm. Ready? No, I wasn't ready. Not after last night, not after all these months. But I nodded. If Rhysand came back, if this Amarantha person was indeed such a threat that I would only be another body for Tamlin to defend, I needed to go. He shut the door, sealing me inside with a click that sounded through me. He leaned through the open window to caress my cheek, and I could have sworn that I felt my heart crack. The footman snapped the whip. Tamlin's fingers brushed my mouth. The carriage jolted as the 6 white horses started into a walk. I bit my lip to keep it from wobbling. Tamlin smiled at me one last time. I love you, he said, and stepped away. I should say it. I should say those words, but they got stuck in my throat because of what he had to face, because he might not find me again, despite his promise, because beneath it all, he was an immortal, and I would grow old and die. And maybe he meant it now, and perhaps last night had been as altering for him as it had been for me, but I would not become a burden to him. I would not become another weight pressing upon his shoulders. So I said nothing as the carriage moved, and I did not look back as we passed through the manor gates and into the forest beyond. Almost as soon as the carriage entered the woods, the sparkle of magic stuffed itself up my nose, and I was dragged into a deep sleep. I was furious when I jerked awake, wondering why it had all been necessary, but the air was full of the thunderous clopping of hooves against the flagstone path. Rubbing my eyes, I peered out the window to see a sloping drive lined with conical hedges and irises. I had never been here before. I took in as many details as I could, as the carriage came to a stop before a chateau of white marble and emerald roofs, nearly as large as Tamlin's manor. The faces of the approaching servants were unfamiliar, and I kept my face blank as I gripped the footman's hand and stepped out of the carriage. Human. He was utterly human, with his rounded ears, his ruddy face, and his clothes. The other servants were human too, all of them restless, not at all like the utter stillness with which the high fae held themselves. Unfinished, graceless creatures of earth and blood. The servants were eyeing me, but keeping back, shrinking away. Did I look so grand then? I straightened at the flurry of motion and color that burst from the front doors. I recognized my sisters before they saw me. They approached, smoothing their fine dresses, their brows rising at the gilded carriage. That cracking, caved-in feeling in my chest worsened. Tamlin had said he'd taken care of my family, but this... Nesta spoke first, curtsying low. Elaine followed suit. "Welcome to our home," Nesta said a bit flatly, her eyes on the ground. "Lady..." I let out a stark laugh. "Nesta," I said, and she went rigid. I laughed again. "Nesta, don't you recognize your own sister?" Elaine gasped. "Feyre," she reached for me, but paused. "What of Aunt Ripley, then? Is she dead?" That was the story, I remembered, that I'd gone to care for a long-lost wealthy aunt. I nodded slowly. Nesta took in my clothes and carriage, the pearls that were woven into her gold-brown hair gleaming in the sunlight. "She left you her fortune," Nesta stated flatly. It wasn't a question. "Feyre, you should have told us," Elaine said, still gaping. "Oh, how awful! And you had to endure losing her all on your own, you poor thing. Father will be devastated that he didn't get to pay his respects." Such simple things, relative dying and fortunes being left, and paying respect to the dead, and yet a weight I hadn't realized I'd still been carrying eased. These were the only things that worried them now. "Why are you being so quiet?" Nesta said, keeping her distance. I'd forgotten how cunning her eyes were, how cold. She'd been made differently, from something harder and stronger than bone and blood. She was as different from the humans around us as I had become. "I'm glad to see how well your own fortunes have improved," I managed. "What happened?" The driver, glamored to look human, no mask in sight, began unloading trunks for the footman. I hadn't known Tamlin had sent me off with belongings. Elaine beamed. "Didn't you get our letters?" She didn't remember, or maybe she'd never actually known then, that I wouldn't have been able to read them anyway. When I shook my head, she complained about the uselessness of the post and then said, "Oh, you'll never believe it. Almost a week after you went to care for Aunt Ripley, some stranger appeared at our door and asked Father to invest his money for him. Father was hesitant because the offer was so good, but the stranger insisted, so Father did it. He gave us a trunk of gold just for agreeing. Within a month, he doubled the man's investment, and then money started pouring in. And you know what? All those ships we lost were found in Barat, complete with father's profits. Tamlin had done that for them. I ignored the growing hollowness in my chest. Feyre, you look as dumbfounded as we were, Elaine said, hooking elbows with me. Come inside, we'll show you the house. We don't have a room decorated for you because we thought you'd be with poor old Aunt Ripley for a month yet, but we have so many bedrooms that you can sleep in a different one each night if you wish. I glanced over my shoulder at Nesta, who watched me with a carefully blank face. So she hadn't married Thomas Manderay after all. Father will likely faint when he sees you, Elaine babbled on, patting my hand as she escorted me toward the main door. Oh, maybe he'll throw a ball in your honor, too. Nesta fell into step behind us, a quiet, stalking presence. I didn't want to know what she was thinking. I wasn't certain whether I should be furious or relieved that they'd gotten on so well without me, and whether Nesta was wondering the same. Horseshoes clopped, and the carriage began ambling down the driveway, away from me, back to my true home, back to Tamlin. It took all my will to keep from running after it. He had said he loved me, and
Cutscene.
I'd felt the truth.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm filling my juice.
You're fine.
I think I like brewing coffee just because it makes my store smell good.
I like the smell of coffee.
Just wish it
When
didn't
Colby
taste so
makes
damn bad.
coffee, when Colby makes coffee at the fucking at the prison, Oh my god, it smells so fucking good in the infirmary. But
It
God,
alone
I
makes me wake up. The
cannot.
taste is awful.
I cannot stand the taste. I want to. I want to drink coffee.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
He had said he loved me, and I'd felt the truth of it with our lovemaking, and he'd sent me away to keep me safe. He'd freed me from the treaty to keep me safe. But whatever storm was about to break in Prithian was brutal enough that even a High Lord couldn't stand against it. I had to stay. It was wise to stay here. But I couldn't fight the sensation, like a darkening shadow within me, that I'd made a very, very big mistake in leaving, no matter Tamlin's orders. Stay with the High Lord, the Serial had said, its only command. I shoved the thought from my mind as my father wept at the sight of me, and did indeed order a ball in my honor. And though I knew that the promise I had once made to my mother was fulfilled, though I knew that I was truly free of it and that my family was forever cared for, that growing, lengthening shadow blanketed my heart. Inventing stories about my time with Aunt Ripley required minimal effort. I read to her daily. She instructed me on my deportment from her bedside, and I nursed her until she died in her sleep 2 weeks ago, leaving her fortune to me. And what a tremendous fortune it was. The trunks that accompanied me hadn't contained just clothing. Several of them had been filled with gold and jewels. Not cut jewels either, but enormous, raw jewels that would pay for 1,000 estates. My father was currently taking inventory of those jewels. He'd holed himself up in the office that overlooked the garden in which I was sitting beside Elaine in the grass. Through the window I spied my father hunched over his desk, a little scale before him as he weighed an uncut ruby the size of a duck's egg. He was clear-eyed again, and moved with a sense of purpose, of vibrancy that I hadn't seen since before the downfall. Even his limp was improved, made miraculously better by some tonic and a salve a strange passing healer had given him for free. I would have been forever grateful to Tamlin for that kindness alone. Gone were his hunched shoulders and downcast, misty eyes. My father smiled freely, laughed readily, and doted on Elaine, who in turn doted on him. Nesta, though, had been quiet and watchful, only giving Elaine answers not longer than a word or two. "These bulbs," Elaine said, pointing with a gloved hand to a cluster of purple and white flowers, "came all the way from the tulip fields of the continent. Father promised that next spring he'll take me to see them. He claims that for mile after mile there's nothing but these flowers." She patted the rich, dark soil. The little garden beneath the window was hers. Every bloom and shrub had been picked and planted by her hand. She would allow no one else to care for it. Even the weeding and watering she did on her own. Though the servants did help her carry over the heavy watering can, she admitted, she would have marveled, likely wept, at the gardens I'd become so accustomed to, at the flowers in perpetual bloom at the spring court. "You should come with me," Elaine went on. "Nesta won't go, because she says she doesn't want to risk the sea crossing. But you and oh, we'd have fun, wouldn't we?" I glanced sidelong at her. My sister was beaming, content, prettier than I'd ever seen her, even in her simple muslin gardening dress. Her cheeks were flushed beneath her large floppy hat. I
Did you
think
say Muslim?
muslin. It's
Oh, I
a
don't know
type
what
of
that
linen.
is.
It's a type of linen.
Okay.
It's just another fabric. Think of what the fuck, like an initiate's dress for like a monastery type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Like that rough, not
Yeah.
necessarily rough, but
I know what you mean.
oh,
Sturdy.
yeah. "I think I'd like to see the continent," I said. And it was true, I realized. There was so much of the world that I hadn't seen, haven't ever thought about visiting, hadn't ever been able to dream of visiting. "I'm surprised you're so eager to go next spring," I said. "Isn't that right in the middle of the season? The
Cutscene.
socialite season."
You've restored the sanctum. This place vexes those who hunger for chaos, like Hexa Marie. I sense her, hiding within her own domain, drawing strength in darkness. First, you must destroy the stone wall that masks her presence. It will not be an easy battle. Keep cautious and vigilant.
Okay, thank you.
I'm surprised you're so eager to go next spring, I said. Isn't that right in the middle of the season? The socialite season, which had ended a few weeks ago, apparently, full of parties and balls and luncheons and gossip, gossip, gossip. Elaine had told me all about it at dinner the night before, hardly noticing that it was an effort for me to get my food down. So much of it was the same, the meat, the bread, the vegetables, and yet it was ash in my mouth compared to what I'd consumed in Prithian. And I'm surprised you don't have a line of suitors out the door begging for your hand. Elaine flushed, but plunged her little shovel into the ground to dig out a weed. Yes, well, there will always be other seasons. Nesta won't tell you, but this season was somewhat strange. In what way? She shrugged her slim shoulders. People acted as if we'd all just been ill for 8 years, or had gone away to some distant country. Not that we'd been a few villages over in that cottage. You'd think we dreamed it all up, what happened to us over those years. No one said a word about it. Did you think they would? If we were as rich as this house suggested, there were surely plenty of families willing to overlook the stain of our poverty. No, but it made me wish for those years again, even with the hunger and cold. This house feels so big sometimes, and Father is always busy, and Nesta... She looked over her shoulder to where my eldest sister stood by a gnarled mulberry tree, looking out over the flat expanse of our lands. She'd barely spoken to me the night before, and not at all during breakfast. I'd been surprised when she joined us outside, even if she stayed by the tree this whole time. Nesta didn't finish the season. She wouldn't tell me why. She began hardly talks to anyone, and I feel wretched when my friends pay a visit, because she makes them so uncomfortable when she stares at them in that way of hers. Elaine sighed. Maybe you could talk to her. I contemplated telling Elaine that Nesta and I hadn't had a civil conversation in years, but then Elaine added, "She went to see you, you know." I blinked, my blood going a bit cold. What? Well, she was gone for only about a week, and she said that her carriage broke down not halfway there, and it was easier to come back, but you wouldn't know since you never got any of our letters. I looked over at Nesta, standing so still under the branches, the summer breeze rustling the skirts of her dress. Had she gone to see me, only to be turned back by whatever glamour magic Tamlin had cast on her? I turned back to the garden and caught Elaine staring at me. What? Elaine shook her head and went back to weeding. You just look so different. You sound different, too. Indeed, I hadn't quite believed my eyes when I'd passed a hall mirror last night. My face was still the same, but there was a glow about me, a kind of shimmering light that was nearly undetectable. I knew without a doubt that it was because of my time in Prithian, that all that magic had somehow rubbed off on me. I dreaded the day it would forever fade. Did something happen at Aunt Ripley's house? Elaine asked. Did you meet someone? I shrugged and yanked at a weed nearby. Just good food and rest. Days passed. The shadow within me didn't lighten, and even the thought of painting was abhorrent. Instead, I spent most of my time with Elaine in her little garden. I was content to listen to her talk about every bud in bloom, about her plans to start another garden by the greenhouse, perhaps a vegetable garden, if she could learn enough about it over the next few months. She had come alive here, and her joy was infectious. There wasn't a servant or gardener who didn't smile at her, and even the brusque head cook found excuses to bring her plates of cookies and tarts at various points in the day. I marveled at it, actually, that those years of poverty hadn't stripped away the light from Elaine. Perhaps buried it a bit, but she was generous, loving, and kind, a woman I found myself proud to know, to call sister. My father finished counting my jewels in gold. I was an extraordinarily wealthy woman.
Cutscene.
I invested...
So he just sent her back with fucking chests of everything?
Yes.
Must be nice. Are you watching?
I can't hear it, so I don't know what's happening.
Oh. Oh, you don't have the sound turned on?
No, because it plays through my speaker and the store's music.
You couldn't even carry out your mother's command. Not that I ever expected much from you.
Oh, that's his mother.
Now, I'll reclaim my power.
I killed his ass.
Greymane, you've come all this way to fill my empty void. How precious. Deep down, you already knew that joining me is the only choice. You desire me, don't you?
Foul-tongued witch!
Just like my child, you need to be broken in!
Oof. Oh, goddamn.
Worthy of being my son? Grated at my very soul!
Her son definitely had an Oedipus complex.
Oh.
I'm glad I upgraded my shield so I can block that. Damn, I don't have any fire protection on right now. All my stuff is ice.
You're a far superior being. Will you not be my son?
Your words reek of deceit, witch!
You unworthy to be called my son.
Find something? Sorry, I can't hear over this AC. I can't hear over this AC. Did we find something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That one in the front?
Such a ring. Shape you into this. You could be by my side.
Have you ever done any of those before? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Right. So, out of the ones that we have, they kind of offer different things. The road trips gives me more of the like hallucination type of situation. The trippy hills, I don't get as much hallucinations, but I laughed so hard I cracked my esophagus. Like it's much more of a head high with the trippy hills. With the road trips, it's more of a body high that affects like the visuals. So the trippy hills are like the more hallucinate? No, the road trips are more hallucinate than trippy hills. The trippy hills are just everything is funny forever. Oh, really? Yeah. That would be. Which one's it? In the trippy hills or the road trips? Trippy hills. I've only done the strawberry one. It was decent. They all have that kind of earthy, nutty undertone. Yeah. Like they're not good, but the strawberry one is decent. So I guess we're gonna start with your chocolate. Yeah. Chocolate. The road trip chocolate. Yeah. Okay. The trippy. The chocolate. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got the pipe. Then the two mushrooms. Yeah. Right. That's it. Do we have a loyalty account with us? You want me to bubble wrap your pipe? You want me to bubble wrap your pipe? Bubble wrap it. Yeah. Okay. You're fine. It don't help that everyone around here talks with a real heavy accent. Yeah. That's it. Sometimes I have to yell at him for him to hear me. Mm-hmm. I also have to yell at my husband for him to hear me, but he's not hard of hearing. He just don't listen.
Listen, bitch.
That's what he has. Yeah. There you go. Y'all have a good one. Absolutely. Have a good one, y'all. All right, I'm back.
How often do you badmouth me to your customers?
Mostly when you're on the phone with me.
Rude.
I don't talk shit when you're not there to yell at me for it. I'm going to make myself some coffee.
Okay.
I think I might be getting a kidney infection or something.
Sorry, honey.
That's okay.
That Hexa Marie was tough. She hit hard as fuck. But she didn't have a lot of defense.
Yeah.
However, I think I'm also over leveled for where I'm supposed to be in the story.
Valid. I also do that. I will overlevel myself to make it easy.
Well, it wasn't to make it easy. It's just there's so much in this fucking game.
Right.
I've done so many side quests, it's not even funny. And I still don't even think I'm at like 70% of the way through the game. Okay, that's why I couldn't do anything at this sun tower earlier. It's part of a quest. I could open it, but I couldn't solve it.
Alright, you ready?
Yep.
Days passed. The shadow within me didn't lighten, and even the thought of painting was abhorrent. Instead, I spent most of my time with Elaine in her little garden. I was content to listen to her talk about every bud in bloom, about her plans to start another garden by the greenhouse, perhaps a vegetable garden, if she could learn enough about it over the next few months. She had come alive here, and her joy was infectious. There wasn't a servant or gardener who didn't smile at her, and even the brusque head cook found excuses to bring her plates of cookies and tarts at various points in the day. I marveled at it, actually, that these years of poverty hadn't stripped away that light from Elaine. Perhaps buried it a bit, but she was generous, loving, and kind. A woman I found myself proud to know, to call sister. My father finished counting my jewels and gold.
Echo, computer, stop.
I was an extraordinarily wealthy woman. I invested a small percentage of it in his business, and when I looked at the remaining behemoth sum, I had him draw me up several bags of money and set out. The manor was only 3 miles from our rundown cottage, and the road was familiar. I didn't mind when my hand became coated in mud from the sodden path. I savored hearing the wind in the trees and the sighing of the high grasses. If I drifted far enough into my memories, I could imagine myself walking alongside Tamlin through these woods. I had no reason to believe that I would see him any time soon, but I went to bed each night praying that I'd awaken to find myself in his manor, or that I'd receive a message summoning me to his side. Even worse than my disappointment that no such thing had happened was the creeping, nagging fear that he was in danger, that Amarantha, whoever she was, would somehow hurt him. I love you. I could almost hear the words, almost hear him saying them, could almost see the sunlight glinting in his golden hair and the dazzling green of his eyes. I could almost feel his body pressed against mine, his fingers playing along my skin. I reached a bend in the road that I could have navigated in the dark, and there it was.
Cutscene.
You're finally here.
Sorry.
You were expecting me?
You're fine.
Our
Catching my breath.
steps have always followed the same current. I've watched your every choice unfold.
Goyen.
Wield sword and skill, yet lack the experience to unite them. So I will help you.
He looks like he could be me in the future.
Come, show me the strength you truly possess.
He's gotta be me from the future.
I haven't seen who you're talking about yet. I just know that she has a thing for you.
Oh no, that was
like
the.
A Tommy complex.
Yeah, no, that was Hexa Marie. But this guy, like,
because I'm still watching you fight her.
Oh, you paused it?
No.
Oh, I'm way past that.
I'm just behind.
This guy's got all the same fucking moves as me.
Okay, I see it now. Just updated.
What the fuck was that?
Not through sight.
Why are you fighting him?
He said he was going to help me choose the right path. That he would help me unite sword and shield.
Oh, so he's basically grown-up Link talking to baby Link.
Yeah, pretty much. This whole fucking game just gives me like grown-up Legend of Zelda vibes. Bro, what is happening?
You want me to keep reading or wait?
You can read. But I assume at the end of this fight there'll be a cutscene, so. And he only has one health bar.
So small. The cottage had been so small. Elaine's old flower garden was a wild tangle of weeds and blooms, and the ward markings were still etched on the stone threshold. The front door, shattered and broken the last time I'd seen it, had been replaced, but one of the circular window panes had become cracked. The interior was dark, the land undisturbed. I traced the invisible path I'd taken across the trail of tall grass every morning from our front door, over the road, and then across the rolling field, all the way to that line of trees. The forest. My forest. It had seemed so terrifying once, so lethal and hungry and brutal, and now it just seemed plain, ordinary. I gazed again at that sad, dark house, the place that had been a prison. Elaine had said she missed it, and I wondered what she saw when she looked at the cottage, if she beheld not a prison but a shelter from a world that had possessed so little good, but she tried to find it anyway, even if it had seemed foolish and useless to me. She had looked at that cottage with hope. I had looked at it with nothing but hatred, and I knew which one of us had been stronger. I had one task left to do before I returned to my father's manor. The villagers who had once sneered at or ignored me instead gaped now, and a few stepped into my path to ask about my aunt, my fortune.
Your steel and skill have become one in this moment. Now, a new era dawns.
Thank you for your guidance.
Despite the weight you've carried, and how heavy those burdens were, despite enduring so much in silence, you must have been lonely. And yet, you never stopped moving forward. You were never wrong. Every path you chose was the right one. So no matter what comes.
That's straight up you.
Yeah, 100%. Glenn has to be Cliff in the future. Okay, you can go back.
I firmly but politely refused to fall into conversation with them, to give them anything to gossip over, but it still took me so long to reach the poor part of our village that I was fully drained by the time I knocked on the first dilapidated door. The impoverished of our village didn't ask questions when I handed them the little bags of silver and gold. They tried to refuse, some of them not even recognizing me, but I left the money anyway. It was the least I could do. As I walked back to my father's manor, I passed Thomas Manderay. and his cronies lurking by the village fountain, chatting about some house that had burned down with its family trapped inside a week before, and whether there was anything to loot from it. He gave me a too long look, his eyes roving freely over my body, with a half-smile I'd seen him give to the village girls 100 times before. Why had Nesta changed her mind? I just stared him down and continued along. I was almost out of town when a woman's laugh flitted over the stones, and I turned a corner to come face to face with Isaac Hale, and a pretty, plump young woman who could only be his new wife. Hold on. Hello? I'm doing. How are you? What can I help you find today, dear? So they're not gummies. They're more like tablets, and 110% I recommend you take them like pills. Do not chew them. They taste like absolute trash.
Yeah.
But they work.
Yeah, they taste bad. Yeah, but they do work. Yeah, because that's what I had last time, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. And, like, they did work. They didn't, like, it just kind of, like, I don't think I sped really, but, like, I almost did, maybe.
So these ones are the lowest dosage. Those are 25 milligrams per tablet.
Yeah.
These ones are 75 milligrams per tablet, and these are 50 milligrams per tablet.
Yeah, I went for the lowest.
So the 2-pack? Which kinds? Those are... How many?
2.
I don't know when the last time you bought them were, but they are not on sale anymore, just so you know. Did you? $9.99. You have a loyalty account with us?
Yes.
What's that number?
511-293-53.
So if you can't pull out here, or if you don't even want to try, take this little back alley. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. How are you doing today, darling? I can. I gotta find where I put them. Hold on. I've got blueberry, chocolate, grape, green apple, guava, honey, mango, natural, and peach, Russian cream, vanilla, and watermelon.
Make sure to mute yourself.
I do. Absolutely. I will. Is that it for you today, dear?
Yeah, and 10 incense.
Alrighty. You have your ID on you, and do you have a phone number with us?
It is 5.
Well, it's absolutely gorgeous.
I think that is 330 right there.
Alrighty.
Was it 329?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool beans. You can just keep that.
I appreciate you. Yes, ma'am. You have a good one. I had to ruin that poor lady's day.
Why?
She was excited because we had the wraps that she wanted and the flavor that she wanted, but her ID was expired.
Oh no, that sucks.
And it popped up red, so I can't do it because it's red. That's what they tell me. I don't know what to tell you.
I've always hated the fact that you can't buy something if your ID expires. Like, it was very obviously a real ID. It's just maybe I forgot to go get a new one in
Because
time.
the problem is that if it's expired, I don't have a way of knowing if it's a real ID. Like with this scanning technology, absolutely it could just be pulled up to where it does say that it's expired. That way you don't look super closely at it. Like my job is not just to scan it, it is also to examine the ID to make sure it is real. Because they can have a, QR code basically on there to make sure that it scans, but not one that is actually linked to the system. So they would just have it say that it's expired.
I mean, yes, but
Does that
also,
make
like,
sense?
it would just be as easy for it to have, like, the same thing that the fucking police can use, like access to the DMV.
I mean, absolutely, but if it is a fake ID, you're not going to have that access.
That's what I'm
That's the
saying.
hope
If it's
anyway.
scanned, then it would tell you, like, hey, yes, this is actually registered. That's what I'm saying. Like, on your end, it would be easy to set up to where you have access to the database that says, hey, yes, this is a real ID. We actually
I
issued
mean,
this.
I don't know how easy that would be, but we don't have anything like that.
I know you don't, but like the fact that's not done is, to me, it seems stupid.
I don't know, man. I get paid $15.50 an hour.
I know. Like, if you're gonna go to
I
the
don't
fucking
take the ID
trouble
if it
of,
shows red.
I know. I'm not saying it's a you thing. I'm saying if you're gonna go to the trouble of like basing your sale ability off of these things. Come here, little bunny. I'm dropping you off the side.
What the fuck?
Don't watch this part.
That's not even a bunny. What is that?
It's a choppy.
Why are you murdering him? Oh my
Because
god.
they don't die when they fall.
So you're doing what?
I'm hoping that they'll start appearing on the ground. I can breed fish and other animals, so I'm hoping by dropping enough of those off the ground that I'll populate the ground down there with them. Ha!
Oh my god. What the fuck did I just watch? No, leave it alone. Run, little bunny. Run. Run.
He is fucking running too.
Fucking go away. Nobody wants you here. Run. No. The fuck is wrong with you? No! Oh, he curls up! You're a horrible person. I can't wait to get to gamer heaven and you have to look him in the eye. I don't care about the NPCs you've murdered. I'm worried about Choppy.
Why'd you throw me off, Papa?
Papa, I thought you loved me.
I don't know what the puzzle is here that I'm supposed to do.
Run! What was that?
That was another one. But
You
right
leave
now
him alone.
I
You
am.
have a
I'm
male
trying
and
to.
a female. You leave him alone.
I'm trying to solve my puzzle.
Okay, so I have really bad vision, and of course I'm watching a stream, so immediately things aren't as clear for me as they are for you. But those little things that you just grabbed, when it's not rendered completely, it looked like rubber ducks.
Yeah, they're rubber duckish.
I was very confused. I have realized I hate watching streaming.
Why?
Because I want to try to solve it and I can't. I just have to watch you stumble blindly through it, and it's
That's why I don't watch
irritating.
streams.
Like, I'm doing this because I love you and I want to be involved in your life and important parts of your lives, but also, this is horrible. Is it a bell or a pot?
It is a patterned jar.
Do they
And they
explode?
break. They break. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Normally there's some kind of marker on the map that shows you, like, hey, this is part of the puzzle. But there is nothing here. However, it looks like there might be something under this.
I was gonna say. Alright, you want me to keep reading?
Yes.
They were arm in arm, both smiling, both lit up from within. His smile faltered as he beheld me. Human. He seemed so human, with his gangly limbs, his simple handsomeness, but that smile he'd had moments before had transformed him into something more. His wife looked between us, perhaps a bit nervously, as if whatever she felt for him, the love I'd already seen shining, was so new, so unexpected, that she was still worried it would vanish. Carefully, Isaac inclined his head to me in greeting. He'd been a boy when I left, and yet this person who now approached me, whatever had blossomed with his wife, whatever was between them, it made him into a man. Nothing, there was nothing in my chest, my soul, for him beyond a vague sense of gratitude. A few more steps had us passing each other, and I smiled broadly at him, at them both, and bowed my head, wishing them well with my entire heart. The ball my father was throwing in my honor was in 2 days, and the house was already a flurry of activity. Such money being thrown away on things we'd never dreamed of having again, even for a moment. I would have begged him not to host it, but Elaine had taken charge of planning and finding me a last-minute dress, and it would only be for an evening of enduring the people who had shunned us and let us starve for years. The sun was near to setting as I stopped my work for the day, digging out a new square of earth for Elaine's next garden. The gardeners had been slightly horrified that another one of us had taken up the activity, as if we'd soon be doing all of their work ourselves and would get rid of them. I assured them I had no green thumb and just wanted something to do with my day. But I hadn't yet figured out what I would be doing with my week, or my month, or anything after that. If there was indeed a surge in the blight happening over the wall, if that Amarantha woman was sending out creatures to take advantage of it, it was hard not to dwell on that shadow in my heart, the shadow that trailed my every step. I hadn't felt like painting since I'd arrived, and that place inside me where all these colors and shapes and lights had come from had become still and quiet and dull. Soon, I told myself, soon I would purchase some paints and start again. I slid the shovel into the ground and set my foot atop it, resting for a moment. Perhaps the gardeners had just been horrified by the tunic and pants I'd scrounged up. One of them had even gone running to fetch me one of those big floppy hats that Elaine wore. I wore it for their sake. My skin had already become tan and freckled from months roaming the Springcourt lands. I glanced at my hands, clutching the top of the shovel, calloused and flecked with scars, arcs of dirt under my nails. They'd surely be horrified when they beheld me splattered with paint. Even if you washed them, there'd be no hiding it, Nesta said behind me, coming over from that tree she liked to sit by. To fit in, you'd have to wear gloves and never take them off. She wore a simple, pale lavender muslin gown, her hair half up and billowing behind her in a sheet of gold brown. Beautiful, imperious, still as one of the high fae. Maybe I don't want to fit in with your social circles, I said, turning back to the shovel. Then why are you bothering to stay here? A sharp, cold question. I plunged the shovel deeper, my arms and back straining as I heaved up a pile of dark soil and grass. It's my home, isn't it? No, it's not, she said flatly. I slammed the shovel back into the earth. I think your home is somewhere very far away. I paused. I left the shovel in the ground and slowly turned to face her. Aunt Ripley's house. There is no Aunt Ripley. Nesta reached into her pocket and tossed something into the churned up earth. It was a chunk of wood, as if it had been ripped from something. Painted on its smooth surface was a pretty tangle of vines and foxglove. Foxglove painted in the wrong shade of blue. My breath hitched. All this time, all these months. Your beast's little trick didn't work on me, she said with quiet steel. Apparently, an iron will is all it takes to keep a glamour from digging in. So I had to watch as Father and Lane went from sobbing hysterics into nothing. I had to listen to them talk about how lucky it was for you to be taken to some made-up aunt's house, how some winter wind had shattered our door. And I thought I'd gone mad, but every time I did, I would look at that painted part of the table, then at the claw marks farther down, and know it wasn't in my head. I'd never heard of a glamour not working, but Nesta's mind was so entirely her own. She had put up such strong walls, of steel and iron and ashwood, that even a High Lord's magic couldn't pierce them. Elaine said, she said you went to visit me, though, that you tried. Nesta snorted, her face grave and full of that long simmering anger that she could never master. He stole you away into the night, claiming some nonsense about the treaty, and then everything went on as if nothing had ever happened. It wasn't right. None of it was right. My hands slackened at my sides. You went after me, I said. You went after me, to Prithian. I got to the wall. I couldn't find a way through. I raised a shaking hand on my throat. You trekked 2 days there and 2 days back, through the winter woods? She shrugged, looking at the silver sliver she'd pried from the table. I hired that mercenary from town to bring me a week after you were taken, with the money from your pelt. She was the only one who seemed like she would believe me. You did that for me? Nesta's eyes, my eyes, our mother's eyes, met mine. It wasn't right, she said again. Tamlin had been wrong when we discussed whether my father would have come after me. He didn't possess the courage, the anger. If anything, he would have hired someone to do it for him. But Nesta had gone with that mercenary. My hateful, cold sister had been willing to brave Prithian to rescue me. What happened to Thomas Mandray? I asked, the words strangled. I realized he wouldn't have gone with me to save you from Prithian. And for her, with that raging, unrelenting heart, it would have been a line in the sand. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, at this woman who couldn't stomach the sycophants who now surrounded her, who had never spent a day in the forest but had gone into wolf territory, who had shrouded the loss of our mother, then our downfall, in icy rage and bitterness, because the anger had been a lifeline, the cruelty a release. But she had cared. Beneath it, she had cared and perhaps loved more fiercely than I could comprehend, more deeply and loyally. Thomas never deserved you anyway, I said softly. My sister didn't smile, but a light shone in her blue-gray eyes. Tell me everything that happened, she said, an order, not a request. So I did. And when I finished my story, Nesta merely stared at me for a long while before asking me to teach her how to paint. Teaching Nesta to paint was about as pleasant as I had expected it to be, but at least it had provided an excuse for us to avoid the busier parts of the house, which became more and more chaotic as my ball drew near. Supplies were easy enough to come by, but explaining how I painted, convincing Nesta to express what was in her mind, her heart. At the very least, she repeated my brushstrokes with a precise and solid hand. When we emerged from the quiet room we'd commandeered, both of us splattered in paint and smeared with charcoal, the chateau was finishing up its preparations. Colored glass lanterns lined the long drive, and inside, wreaths and garlands of every flower and color decorated every rail. Beautiful. Elaine had selected each flower herself and instructed the staff where to put them. Nesta and I slipped up the stairs, but as we reached the landing, my father and Elaine appeared below, arm in arm. Nesta's face tightened. My father murmured his praises to Elaine, who beamed at him and rested her head on his shoulder. And I was happy for them, for the comfort and ease of their lifestyle, for the contentment of both my father and my sister's faces. Yet they had their small sorrows, but both of them seemed so relaxed. Nesta walked down the hall, and I followed her. There are days, Nesta said as she paused in front of the door to her room across from mine, when I want to ask him if he remembers the years he almost let us starve to death. You spent every copper I could get, too, I reminded her. I knew you could always get more, and if you couldn't, then I wanted to see if he would ever try to do it himself instead of carving those bits of wood. If he would actually go out and fight for us. I couldn't take care of this, not the way you did. I hated you for that, but I hated him more. I still do. Does he know? He's always known I hate him, even before we became poor. Let Mother die. He had a fleet of ships at his disposal to sail across the world for a cure, or he could have hired men to go into Prithian and beg them for help, but he let her waste away. He loved her. He grieved for her. I didn't know what the truth was. Perhaps both. He let her die. You would have gone to the ends of the earth to save your High Lord. My chest hollowed out again, but I merely said, yes, I would have, and slipped inside my room to get ready. The ball was a blur of waltzing and preening, of bejeweled aristos, of wine and toasts in my honor. I lingered at Nesta's side because she seemed to do a good job of scaring off the two curious suitors who wanted to know more about my fortune. But I tried to smile, if only for Elaine, who flitted about the room, personally greeting each guest and dancing with all their important sons. But I kept thinking about what Nesta had said, about saving Tamlin. I'd known something was wrong. I'd known he was in trouble, not just with the blight on Prythian, but also that the forces gathering to destroy him were deadly, and yet I'd stopped looking for answers, stopped fighting it, glad, so selfishly glad to be able to set down that savage, wild part of me that had only survived hour to hour. I'd let him send me home. I hadn't tried harder to piece together the information I'd gathered about the blight or Amarantha. I hadn't tried to save him. I hadn't even told him I loved him. And Lucian had known it too, and shown it in his bitter words on my last day, his disappointment in me. 2 in the morning, and yet the party was showing no signs of slowing. My father held court with several other merchants and aristo men to whom I had been introduced, but whose names I'd instantly forgotten. Elaine was laughing among a circle of beautiful friends.
Computer, stop!
Brilliant.
Here in just a second, I'm going to get up when you finish this chapter. And me and
I'll
Evie are
just
going to
stop
clean the
because
room.
I just started a new
Oh, you just
chapter.
started a new chapter?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, no, keep going until I finish this puzzle. When I finish this puzzle, I'm going to get up and me and Evie are going to clean the house.
Alright.
Computer, stop!
Nesta had left silently at midnight, and I didn't bother to say goodbye as I finally slipped upstairs. The following afternoon, bleary-eyed and quiet, we all gathered at the lunch table. I thanked my sister and father for the party and dodged my father's inquiries regarding whether any of his friends' sons had caught my eye. The summer heat had arrived, and I propped my chin on a fist as I fanned myself. I'd slept fitfully in the heat last night. It was never too hot or too cold at Tamlin's estate. I'm thinking of buying the better land, that my father is saying to Elaine, who was the only one of us listening to him.
Hold on, babe.
I heard a rumor it'll...
Gary just joined the party.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I was just telling you that he was here. Hey, Gary, what's up?
I heard a rumor...
Sorry, continue, babe. Gary,
You're fine.
Chris is reading me a book.
You're fine.
I'm thinking of buying the Bedor land, my father was saying to Elaine, who was the only one of us listening to him. I heard a rumor it'll go up for sale soon, since none of the family survived, and it would be a good investment property. Perhaps one of you girls might build a house on it when you're ready. Elaine nodded interestedly, but I blinked. What happened to the Beddors? Oh, it was awful, Elaine said. Their house burned down and everyone died. Well, they couldn't find Claire's body, but... She looked down at her plate. It happened in the dead of night. The family, their servants, everyone. The day before you came home to us, actually. Claire Bedor, I said slowly. Our friend, remember? Elaine said. I nodded, feeling Nesta's eyes on me. No, it couldn't be possible. It had to be a coincidence. Because the alternative... I had given that name to Rhysand, and he had not forgotten it. My stomach turned over, and I fought against the nausea that roiled within me. Feyre? My father asked. I put a shaking hand over my eyes, breathing in. What had happened? Not just at the Bedors, but at home, in Prythian. Feyre, my father said again, and Nesta hissed at him, quiet. I pushed back against the guilt, the disgust and terror. I had to get answers, had to know if it had been a coincidence, or if I might yet be able to save Claire. And if something happened here, in the mortal realm, then the Spring Court, then those creatures Tamlin had been so frightened of, the blight that had infected magic, their lands. Fairies, they had come over the wall and left no trace behind. I lowered my hand and looked at Nesta. You must listen very carefully, I said to her, swallowing hard. Everything I have told you must remain a secret. You do not come looking for me. You do not speak my name again to anyone. What are you talking about, Feyre? My father gaped at me from the end of the table. Elaine glanced between us, shifting in her seat. But Nesta held my gaze, unflinching. I think something very bad might be happening in Prythian, I said softly. I'd never learned what warning signs Tamlin had instilled in their glamours to prod my family to run, but I wasn't going to risk relying solely on them. Not when Claire had been taken, her family murdered, because of me. Bile burned my throat. Prythian, my father and Elaine blurted, but Nesta held up a hand to silence them. I went on. If you won't leave, then hire guards, hire scouts to watch the wall, the forest, the village too. I rose from my seat. The first sign of danger, the first rumor you hear of the wall being breached, or even something being strange, you get on a ship and go. You sail far away, as far south as you can get, to some place the fairies would never desire. My father and Elaine began blinking, as if clearing some fog from their minds, as if emerging from a deep sleep, but Nesta followed me out into the hall up the stairs. The Betters, she said. That was meant to be us. But you gave them a fake name. Those wicked fairies who threatened your high lord. I nodded. I could see the plans calculating in her eyes. Is there going to be an invasion? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I was told that there was a kind of sickness that had made their powers weaken or go wild, a blight on the land that had damaged the safety of their borders and could kill people if it struck badly enough. They said it was a surging again and on the move. At the last I heard, it wasn't near enough to harm our lands. But if the spring court is about to fall, then the blight has to be getting close, and Tamlin was one of the last bastions keeping the other courts in check, the deadly courts, and I think he's in danger. I entered my room and began peeling off my gown. My sister helped me, then opened the wardrobe to pull out a heavy tunic and pants and boots. I slipped into them and was braiding back my hair when she said, "We don't need you here, Feyre. Do not look back." I tugged on my boots and went for the hunting knives I'd discreetly acquired while here. Father once told you to never come back, Nesta said, and I'm telling you now. We can take care of ourselves. Once I might have thought it was an insult, but now I understood what a gift she was offering me. I sheathed the knives at my side and slung a quiver of arrows across my back, none of them ash, before scooping up my bow. They can lie, I said, giving her information I hoped she would never need. Fairies can lie, and iron doesn't bother them one bit, but ash would, that seems to work. Take my money and buy a damned grove for it for Elaine to tend. Nesta shook her head, clutching her wrist, the bracelet of iron still there. What do you think you can even do to help? He's a high lord, you're just a human. That wasn't an insult either, a question from a coolly calculating mind. I don't care, I admitted at the door now, which I flung open, but I've got to try. Nesta remained in my room. She would not say goodbye. She hated farewells as much as I did. But I turned to my sister and said, there is a better world, Nesta. There is a better world out there waiting for you to find it, and if I ever get the chance, if things are ever better, safer, I will find you again. And it was all I could offer her. But Nesta squared her shoulders. Don't bother. I don't think I'd be particularly fond of fairies. I raised a brow. She went on with a slight shrug. Try to send word once it's safe. And if it ever is, Father and Elaine can have this place. I think I'd like to see what else is out there, what a woman might do with a fortune and a good name. No limits, I thought. There were no limits to what Nesta might do, what she might make of herself once she found a place to call her own. I prayed I would be lucky enough to someday see it. Elaine, to my surprise, had a horse, a satchel of food and supplies ready when I hurried down the stairs. My father was nowhere in sight, but Elaine threw her arms around me and holding tightly, said, I remember all of it now. I wrapped my arms around her. Be on your guard, all of you. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I would have liked to see the continent with you, Feyre. I smiled at my sister, memorizing her lovely face, and wiped her tears away. Maybe someday, I said. Another promise that I'd be lucky to keep. Elaine was still crying as I spurred my horse and galloped down the drive. I didn't have it in me to say goodbye to my father once more. I rode all day and stopped only when it was too dark for me to see. Due north, that's where I would start and go until I hit the wall. I had to get back, had to see what had happened, had to tell Tamlin everything that was in my heart before it was too late. I rode all of the second day, slept fitfully, and was off before first light. On and on through the summer forest, lush and dense and humming, until an absolute silence fell. I slowed my horse to a careful walk and scanned the brush and trees ahead for any sign, any ripple. There was nothing, and then... My horse bucked and shook her head, and it was all I could do to stay in the saddle as she refused to go forward. But still there was nothing, no marker. Yet when I dismounted, hardly breathing as I put a hand out, I found that I could not pass. There, cleaving through the forest, was an invisible wall. But the fairies came and went through it, through holes, rumor claimed, so I led my horse down the line, tapping the wall every so often to make sure I hadn't veered away. It took me 2 days, and the night between them was more terrifying than any I'd experienced at the Spring Court. 2 days before I spied the mossy stones placed across from each other, a faint whorl carved into them both, a gate. This time, when I mounted my horse and steered her between them, she obeyed. Magic stung my nostrils, zapping until my horse bucked again, but we were through. I knew these trees. I rode in silence, an arrow nocked and ready, the threats lurking in the forest far greater than those in the woods I'd just left. Tamlin might be furious. He might command me to turn around and go home. But I would tell him that I was going to help, tell him that I loved him and would fight for him however I could, even if I had to tie him down to make him listen. I became so intent on contemplating how I might convince him not to start roaring that I didn't immediately notice the quiet, how the birds didn't sing, even as I drew closer to the manor itself, how the hedges of the estate looked in need of a trim. By the time I reached the gates, my mouth had gone dry. The gates were open, but the iron had been bent out of shape, as if mighty hands had wrenched them apart. Every step of the horse's hooves was too loud on the gravel path, and my stomach dropped further when I beheld the wide-open front doors. One of them hung at an angle, ripped off its top hinge. I dismounted, arrow still at the ready, but there was no need. Empty. It was utterly empty here, like a tomb. "Tam?" I called. I bounded up the front steps and into the house. I rushed inside, swearing as I slid on a piece of broken porcelain, the remnants of a vase. Slowly, I turned in the front hall. It looked as if an army had marched through. Tapestries hung in shreds, the marble banister was fractured, and the chandeliers lay broken on the ground, reduced to mounds of shattering crystal. "Tamlin!" I shouted. Nothing. The windows had all been blown out. "Lucian?" No one answered. "Tam?" My voice echoed through the house, mocking me. Alone in the wreckage of the manor, I sank to my knees. He was gone. And that's the end of the chapter.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, comments, theories, concerns?
Well, he was obviously kidnapped by Anashta or whatever her name was.
Amarantha.
Amarantha.
I just meant theories about the book in general. Not necessarily about what happened to Tamlin. It's very obvious.
What do you mean, then?
I don't know, just how the book is going to go. I just didn't know if you had anything you wanted to talk about.
I think she's gonna fall in love with the other guy. With Lucian.
Lucian?
Yeah. I don't think she's gonna end up with Tamlin.
I'm not looking forward to reading the other books to you.
Why?
Because they're quadruple the size of this one. It's taken me a month to read this to you.
Okay, this puzzle's pissing me the fuck off. Okay, I'm about to fucking break my TV.
Why?
Chris, look at the goddamn screen.
Okay.
Alright. This button, and this button are all connected. I need them all pushed in the way this one is.
Okay.
When I hit this one, it goes in, but that one comes out. When I hit that one comes out, and this one comes out.
So you need to hit them in the correct order?
I didn't even fucking realize this one was out.
I was gonna say, I thought there was a fourth one.
There's a fifth and sixth one, too.
Yeah, you just need to hit them in the correct order.
I know, I just don't know what the fucking order is, and I can't figure it out, and it's pissing me off, and I'm gonna punch a hole in the TV.
Google it.
I don't do that.
There's also that one right there.
Yeah, I know, the one at the bottom, but this one didn't. Okay, it looks like that one might have activated that one.
Both of those are still closed. So 1, 2, 3.
That one came out, though. And that one. So the only one that didn't come out was that one.
So if they're all closed now, go pop that one.
They're not all closed. That's what I'm checking.
I guess I can't tell what's happening, because...
Okay, look. Do you see how this one is pressed out?
Yeah.
Let me hang on. Let me hang on it. Alright, see how it's pressed out?
Yeah.
Now it is not pressed out. However, that one above me is now pressed out. When I push one in, it's shoving some of the others out.
Turn to your left again.
These are done. Ignore those. That puzzle is completed.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
The ones that are blue on the left of me, where the writing is on my screen, that is completed. I've done that one. It is these here.
Be right back.
When I hit this one... Fuck, I ran out of stamina. See how it's lit up blue? That's the next connector for this one. That's the starting one for this section.
Okay. Look up.
That one over there is in, and that one is in. It's just this one next to me on the right, and the one above me on the left. Do which one? Left or right?
Right.
So this one?
Yeah.
Okay, it pushed that center button out, and it pushed the bottom button out. So pushing this button pushes the one above and below me.
Okay. Hold on, I got a text.
You're fine.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Let me try this one. I think I got it. That was the most goddamn bullshittiest bullshit I ever fucking bullshitted.
I have a customer.
Sorry.
What can I help you find today, Diamond?
playing this. Chris is at work, and she's been reading me a book.
Yeah.
I fought a weird crow mommy who has the hots for me.
Okay.
Ugh. I gotta take the fucking dog out, and then me and the child are about to clean the house. What are you playing, Gary?
Guardians of the Galaxy. Hang on, Papa. I'll take you out in just a second.
Shit, what? Hey!
May every soul feel God's love.
Go lose yourself. Meat, eggs, oil. Good day.
You'll be damned for this.
Hello.
Piss off, Fleabag.
What can I help y'all find today? I have Geek Labs. We can't sell the Geek bars that have nicotine in them because they're illegal in the state of Arkansas now.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. So I've got Nixidine Geek bars.
What's Nixidine?
Nixidine is an alternative alkaloid that supposedly scratches the same system
Yeah, gotcha.
as nicotine. I personally don't use them because I've been using these for a long time, but they're based in like vitamin. There's a vitamin B, but I don't remember which number it is.
Okay, interesting.
I like the Nixidine better from what I've read. Again, I don't use them, but from what I've read, I like the Nixidine better than the Meditine because that stuff is scary.
Okay. I'm sure she would like it. She might do it. Can't do it.
I love y'all's vibe, by the way.
Thank you. We had a good day. Happy a little bit. I don't know. What do you think you should do about that? The correct formula. Yeah.
Longer than it was supposed to have been. It's been fine though. The weather keeps the busyness from so.
Hey girl, sorry, I'm at the vape shop, and so because we're in Arkansas, we're at Hot Springs. They don't have Bridges bars. They don't sell them anymore. They have something called Heat Labs, which is Nixidine instead of nicotine, which I guess is like a healthy alternative that scratches the same itch. That or they have our little Econia batteries. It's $20. Yes. You know the disposables or something, right? Okay. Yeah, kind of. She said it's based on like a B vitamin. Like one of the, she doesn't remember what number it is, but one of the B vitamins is like the base.
B3.
B3, she said, is what the base is of it. You gonna try that? Okay. Alright. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye. Congratulations. I know. She hates the salt mix. She tried a salt mix and she hates it.
So, okay, so the difference is though with those salt mix, because yes, technically it's the same stuff, but those disposables are sitting on the shelves for months and months and months. It's wine in a barrel. This is hitting your coil 5 minutes later. It's not going to be as intense flavor. You're not going to have that I guess mentholy bite to it. These for people who have only used disposables long term, those will be far more satisfactory than those.
That makes sense. I think I'm crazy. I think she's really just kind of crazy, but.
Can borrow your ID, darling?
Yes, ma'am.
Mute yourself.
I also have all my raws over here, and then I have a little corner of Blazy Students because
Yeah, I seen him up there.
it's just supposed to go like this, but that's a long stretch, so.
That is a long stretch. I like the places. They work really well. What product stays free? I'm down for that.
Those are my cones. The tips of them are, excuse me, wax, and then it has wildflower seeds in it, so that when you click it, it just goes flowers.
That's cool, actually. Good for that. Try not to put anything on the ground anyway.
Right.
Maybe a reason to, I guess.
Hey, baby. We're about to get up and clean the room.
I don't think those kind of people are going to buy those anyway.
What?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I like the thought. It's there.
Always.
You want these special kind of papers? This thing on the thing. Maybe you can get some tips.
If you are just looking at rolling papers, those are what I've got. I do have all of my King Kong wraps. They're pre-rolled. You just stuff them. They all have terpene flavor beads in them, so you pop them and it flavors your whole cone.
Really?
And those all drop down in price too. So
That sounds good. You and try one of that.
from here to here.
Oh my.
Alright.
Energy drink.
Gary, I gotta hop off for a little bit to go clean the apartment, but then I'll be right back on.
Lemon haze. We'll do that.
Lemon haze. These have 2 1-gram.
Yeah.
Oh, let me